Hi, this is Wendy Albers from Behind the Camera. Tonight we have Susan Burek, who is running for Augusta Township Treasurer. And Susan has been so kind to agree to come in and just answer some random questions. She doesn't know what the questions are, and we thank you for your time and coming in today, Susan.
You're welcome.
This is not really a question, but just introduce yourself for those that might be new to the township that don't know you, and any information you'd like to share about yourself.
So I moved to this township 25 years ago. I didn't grow up here, but I'm kind of familiar with the area because my mother grew up in Belleville, and she's a graduate of Belleville High, and my dad grew up in New Boston, and both of them lived on farms. Both the farmhouses are still here. My mother's farm has long been since divided, but I'm kind of proud that my dad's farm turned into an apple orchard and is now Apple Charlie's today.
Really?
So my grandfather started that orchard 100 years ago. And so I visited the farms when I was a kid, so I was out this way. So I wanted to get some acreage because I wanted to start an herb farm. And the reason is I'm a trained herbalist and I wanted some acreage. And since I was kind of familiar with the area out here because my dad still lived in Belleville on the old property of my mom's farm, he was out here and I had a sister that lived out here and at the time. So I looked out here and I landed in Augusta Township and I was able to buy 6 acres. And along with that, with the small farm comes farm animals, although that wasn't my focus to raise any animals for food or anything like that, although I do have a lot of chickens for their eggs. That with starting an herb farm, I was able to raise a lot of herbs, and I started a home business creating herbal products for poultry, which I sell online.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's cool. Okay, so for those that don't know, you are currently our township treasurer.
Yes.
And you are running again. So tell us why you decided to run again.
Okay, so the reason I'm running again hasn't changed much from when I decided to run the first time. So this is my 3rd term. When I ran the first time, it was probably after living here 10 years, I became aware of things going on the township board, things that were happening politically, and so I started going to meetings, and especially the audit meetings. I thought, okay, I'll try to see if I can help. That was just my simple thought, was just to help the community. And I got appointed as treasurer in 2011, and that was just for 1 year because I was finishing out the term of the previous treasurer. And so I ran again, but I did lose by 3 votes. My first election. I said, okay, that's fine. I dipped my feet into it. It was good. But then I ran again in 16 on a slate. And the reason I ran is because, again, there were things going on the board that I thought were not healthy for the township. Just all kinds of things in the news. And I thought, well, I will try to help what I can. And I'm an honest person. And I think I would be good for the treasurer's office because I am honest. I have management experience, and I thought, well, I'll just do it. And I got elected in 16. The office is pretty interesting. We were able to get financially back on our feet because the previous administration, there was an embezzlement. There was a lot of trust broken in the community. And I think I've been successful ever since. So I've just kept going because the office has worked really well.
Awesome. If you are reelected, what would you like to accomplish in this term?
I would like to see, I would like to see some community building. I think the township is at a point, especially from the last 8 years, we have gotten financially on our feet. We have just worked on our utility system. We've done a lot of good things structurally to make us whole again as far as functioning. But I think now it's time for us to think about, how do we want to grow and change, or how will growth come into the community? But I think first we have to start with community. I see a community. What's interesting about this community is, what's striking to me is we have no community spaces, physical spaces for people to gather and to do things together. And I think we need to get to know each other physically and do things together to strengthen the spirit in the community, to get to know each other and to maybe figure out what we want this community to be. And I would really like to work on that, along with, again, we are growing and changing slowly in population and buildings and things, businesses, and just to manage that so everybody feels comfortable and feels good about where it's headed, what we have here, the layout of our township, and so forth.
Mm-hmm. Cool. All right. Next question. What do you want, that kind of ties into what you touched on actually organically, what do you want for the future of Augusta Township in terms of growth? What would you like to see?
I think we need to review our zoning ordinances. I think it really needs, the zoning laws really need to reflect how we want to live here, what enforces our sense of safety and community, and the buildings that we build, the businesses, our districts, and that everything is laid out in a very nice manner, so people feel good about living here, and it doesn't feel like it's too rushed or too much. But growth is going to happen here, even, you said organically, it's going to, just by population alone, even if people just come here to build homes to live in. Mm-hmm. And we need to just feel good about, when we go out, do we have the amenities that we would like to have on hand, smaller businesses, the space that we'd like to see, and just how it builds up as far as homes and businesses, that everybody feels good about the character of our township. Mm-hmm. What do we want to be when we grow up?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Doing great. Last question. How do you handle conflict, manage working relationships with people that have different and sometimes very strong opinions that are opposite of yours?
So I think, as a judging, being on the board for a while, I think I handle myself pretty well. I'm pretty open-minded. I try to listen to people. I don't find difficulty in dealing with people that have a different opinion than I do. I like hearing new ideas, because I think we need to have a lot of different ideas on the board to make it strong. You can't all think the same. That's not representative of the community, and that just doesn't make good, well-rounded decisions, right? And so if people can speak civilly to each other and express themselves, I personally like the idea of collaboration and working out ideas and listening to other people. I think I went into it with a thick skin, but I've had to learn to get a thicker skin. It's a tough job, because you're dealing with the public, you're dealing with board members, and you just really have to be, you have to keep the township foremost in your mind, that you are working for the township. It's not about your friendships. on the board or other board members or different ideas, or even, you know, the public yelling at you or whatever, you just gotta keep that focus of what is best for the township and let it roll off your back. I mean, it's not easy, it's never easy, but, I think I do a good job. I don't think I've ever yelled at anybody at a board meeting ever in 8 years, so I think that's a pretty good record. So.
Awesome. Well, thanks, Susan. This was it. They were, you know, just some general questions.
Okay.
The whole purpose of this was to, for those that might not know you, put a face to a name. And my hope is that once these videos are uploaded, that it will open dialogue. Maybe people will reach out to you and ask you further questions. But thanks for coming in tonight and for participating.
Thank you.